Hey friends, look, I'm so excited. I have a new resource for you. It's called Rev Up Your Dreams, and it's a guide for helping you to ignite your passion. So, learn how to identify and fuel your deepest desires. It's going to help you craft your vision. It's going to help you overcome obstacles because we know as mompreneurs, there are obstacles along the journey, and then some actionable steps for you to take. You may have had a child who's like, but why? Right? But why? You tell them something and they're like, but why? Maybe you were that child growing up and you just needed to get down to the root reason why, just being curious. And I think we lose that simple curiosity in our mompreneur journeys. And so we have this disconnect between what our goals are and why we have them in the first place, why we became a mompreneur, why we're trying to hustle and create this life that we want for ourselves, for our families, for our community, the impact we're trying to have through our businesses. And so I want to help you connect the dots. And this guide is going to be a great resource for you. It's going to help you to rev up your dreams so that you can rev up your results. So you can grab it at martinwilliams.com/guide, GUIDE. We'll make sure we put the link in the show notes for you. But again, this is a great resource to help you to rev up your dreams. And you can go to martinwilliams.com/guide. Welcome to the Mompreneur Life Remix podcast, where you will learn how to remix your mompreneur life so that you can win at work without losing yourself in the process. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business and elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl and hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Mompreneur Life Remix podcast. Let's do this. Well, hey friends, and happy Thursday to you. Happy Podcast Thursday. I am really excited to introduce you to our newest Turquoise Talk guest, Livia Jenvey. She is the founder of Empowered Star Boss and the author of Soul Compass, a female entrepreneur's guide to navigating past self-doubt and fear. She, like many other women, many of you that are listening today, fell victim to career sabotaging self-doubt. And so she wrote Soul Compass to uncover the tools and techniques to get unstuck, free from fear, and out of your head. Livia spent over 20 years in the corporate world, improving and enhancing business growth for private and public held firms, .com startups, tech companies, as well as Fortune 500 and 100 companies. You know, I love hearing stories of other mompreneurs and specifically ones that really have a focus to help mompreneurs to harmonize their life and their business. So you're going to love this conversation. You're going to love some of the strategies that she shares. And I can't wait for you to meet her. So let's do this. Welcome back, friends, to the Mompreneur Life Remix podcast. Today, we have another amazing Turquoise Talk guest, Livia Jenvey. Am I saying the last name right?
Jenvey, yes.
Jenvey. Okay. Well, thank you, Livia, for coming on the show today. And I'm so excited to get to know you and talk about this topic. So tell us just a little bit about you, your family, how you became an entrepreneur.
So I became an entrepreneur. I've always sort of been an entrepreneur, to be truthfully honest. I think most women who go into entrepreneurship, you were, as a kid, kind of hustling here and there with the family. So I kind of started that very young. I officially became an entrepreneur in my late 20s. I'd been working in corporate roles for many, many years. And at the time, I got laid off from my company. It was when the Wall Street stock market crashed. And so I was working for a big financial company, received a really good severance package. I already had sort of a side hustle going on at the time and decided just to dive in full with that business since I had a nice severance package to kind of hold me over. So I learned a lot in the beginning because I did a lot of things that were not right as an entrepreneur, really burned myself bad many times. And so it's something that I wish there's a lot of stuff that I'd help with entrepreneurs right now that I wish I knew back then. It wouldn't have caused so much pain. But growing up, I come from an immigrant family. Both my parents were immigrants from other countries. So I had this very immigrant, hustle mindset. It just sort of that culture that I was brought up in, but
Mm-hmm.
it didn't necessarily do really well for me as an entrepreneur. So that's sort of where I come from and where it all started. And I just love being an entrepreneur. It's just where it's meant for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So you mentioned just some mistakes. I think people really relate to like the mess before the success. And sometimes we see other people, especially on social media. It's so easy to kind of see like their day 100 and we're comparing it to our day one. So just to kind of like level set with some of the listeners, what would you say was the biggest, like, I wish I'd have known this or mistake that you made in the beginning?
I wish, so first of all, so the first company I started because a lot of people said I'd be really good at it. Like I
Mm,
wished I had not listened to them and listened to really my own internal compass and started the business that I wanted to start it.
mm,
I think that was the biggest thing that I really wish and I think a lot for us as female entrepreneurs, we're very taught, and just as women in general, we're taught to, take the advice of others before our own, kind of take care and really think of others, but we really forget about ourselves. And
mm-hmm.
this is the advice I really, really wish I had learned really young, to be honest, because if I listened to my own inner compass more, like I would have made better decisions. I would have not killed myself to the point, like just done those things that were just not the right things to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think kind of some of the things that you're saying kind of led to maybe some burnout. And I do talk about that a lot in the podcast. And I love to ask each guest just, what was your experience with burnout? How did it feel? How did you work your way out of it? And now that you're out of it, what are you doing to kind of prevent it? Because I do think it presents differently for different people. And so I'd just kind of love to, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about that.
No, I talk a lot about my burnout. I basically put myself in the emergency room. That's
Mm,
how bad I got to the point. I was working 6 days, almost 7 days a week. I would be working from like the early dawn to late at night, barely any breaks. I just was working, 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 working. And it really just pushed my body to the point where like one morning I woke up and I was just in severe pain and had to get rushed to the emergency room because
mm.
my body was just like, you're done. Like you can't do this anymore,
Yeah.
you know? And that's what I want. I don't want to see other women to happen that way. I talk a lot about this because it's just, there's better ways to do it, I
Hmm.
think. And also too, like having the support structure, both outside of your business and inside of your business is really the key. And it's also support that, there's so many people out there who want to support you more than you
Hmm.
realize and
Yeah.
really leveraging them, being comfortable with delegating. Those are other things that I wish I had known early on because, going to the emergency room because of you're just working too much is just it's not the way to go. Like
Yeah.
no business is worth that,
No,
honestly.
it's not. I talk about that a lot. Like, you hustle hard, and I'm definitely a hard worker, but I'm anti, hustle 24/7, 365. I just don't think it's sustainable. And it's almost like you have to hit that point to really understand sometimes. And I probably a lot like you, I want to help prevent that because it's hard to, if we don't prepare, then we have to repair. And a lot of times you get to that place where relationships have been broken, your physical health is just down the drain and then you're in repair mode. And so how can we, prevent that? So I love the support system inside and outside of the business. If you're a very ambitious driven woman, which I know a lot of listeners are, sometimes it is hard to ask for that help and to get the support that you need, but we were not intended to do life and business alone. So what does your support system look like for someone who's listening? Is it, support in the business? What does that look like for you? And then how are you having that support outside?
So my support in my business is like I have my own mentors and coaches I work with. I
Mm-hmm.
have my staff that I work with who support me every single day. Like they're there for me, my assistants, everyone that is there within my business that supports me within. And then outside my business, I get support from good friends that I get to connect with, like whenever I want to just have that time to like be with the girls, like my
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends. I have folks who come and do like cleaning in my house. I get
Yeah.
like food delivery. Occasionally I go out and, I have like my massage therapist that I work with. These are things outside of the business that really help support me because something I talk a lot about that women entrepreneurs don't understand is that men also have this similar type of support in their businesses. This is
Mm-hmm.
how for eons they have been running businesses and companies, they've had support inside the business and outside the business. They've had, a wife at home, taking care of the children, feeding them food. Like there's no difference between us as a female entrepreneur and not having also that same support. And I think that there's this false sort of, I don't know what it is. It's just like this rumor mill or something that it is that makes us think as female entrepreneurs that we have to be like Wonder Woman to go do these things. But in reality, like Wonder Woman had her sidekicks too. So,
yeah,
she wasn't doing it all on her own. So I think that's where we need to really learn that, like, yes, you can be a strong, strong woman and also get support too. Like actually being a really strong woman is a woman getting support, accepting support, receiving support. Being in your feminine nature is all about receiving. So that's really embracing that, because that empowers you to be able to do what you need to do every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. It is such a mindset shift from, when you think about it. Like I remember when my kids were younger and I was really kind of struggling with mom guilt. And I remember just thinking, okay, my husband is working literally the same amount of hours that I am. He's just not home, so they don't see it. Right. And like he's not feeling guilty that he's away from the home and working, and he's, been able to go to the gym and just all the things that he was doing. It is such a mindset shift to realize that we do need the help, and like, who are we, what standards and what bar do we have set for ourselves? Because I do find, at least for me, it wasn't any pressure from my husband to do it all, right? Or even from my clients to do it all. It's just all of this internal work that we have to do to realize that while we might be able to do it all for a short period of time, eventually you are going to crash and burn. It's just not sustainable to do that. So asking for, like you said, I love that you mentioned house cleaning. That was the first thing I outsourced, and I have never looked back. It just freed me up to do the things that I really wanted to do, but also the things that I'm really gifted in, while giving someone else the opportunity to make some money, right, for their families. So if someone's listening and they're thinking, I do need to get a little bit more support in my business, what was the first hire for you, for your team?
My first hire was a virtual assistant. That was the first thing I ever hired when I started out ages ago. And it changed my life. Like I was definitely guilt-ridden at the time, because I was like, well, I don't know. And will I have, can I give her enough work? Like all these things that pop in your head.
Yeah.
But then when I finally just made the leap and hired this person, I hired a rock star. Like she did everything for me. Like it literally gave me so much time back into my life, back in time to enjoy with my significant other, back time to enjoy having with friends, back time to gaining clients. Like I was able to like gain more clients because I wasn't spending so much time doing the day-to-day little things that my assistant to do. And also at the time, like I had a book that I was writing. It was my first book, and my assistant was really good at editing. So she was there to like help me do that. And I didn't realize that until after I brought her on, but it was just so important. And after that, I just never went back. I was just like, more people the merrier.
I know. I remember the first time I hired an assistant as well. And I remember my coach telling me like, that's the next step. And I'm like, first of all, what would I have her do? Can I afford her? Like all of the thoughts that go through your head, it's just like taking that first step. Because once I did, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like delegating queen, like delegating things off my plate. And it does give you more time. My coach used to always say, if more money doesn't give you more time, you don't need more money. And that really has always resonated with me, because the more money gives me more time to do the things that I want to do in my business, or that only I can do, right, in the business. Or if I want to spend time on some self-care, or I want to spend some time. So I just think it's really important to think about, what is that first step for getting the support you need? It could be just kids in your home helping you unload the dishwasher or do their own laundry. I mean, I think sometimes as mompreneurs, we think we have to hire a full-time assistant, when really you have some free help right there living in your home.
Yeah, like when you get they can easily do the work. Like honestly, this is the one that's funniest thing. It's like when you have children, it's like they are your designated staff for you. Like you can get them to do anything for you, and you don't have to pay them, so they're free labor.
It's
like
so
this
true.
is an opportunity you need to take advantage of, like early on. And it also too, it helps you get comfortable with delegating, because I think that's also the biggest challenge as a female entrepreneur. If you're not used to doing that, like if you've got kids at home, practice delegating with them, like do your laundry, clean the dishes, get your brother, help your brother to get cleaned up. Like these are things that will help you feel more comfortable as a leader, as a female leader in a business, just sort of leading your children. Because I talk about a lot is that you're a leader already in your day-to-day life, being a mom, right? So just apply those practices day to day at your home, and it also reflects back into your business as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Hey, friend, can I give you permission today? Like for real, your own permission slip. Permission to get clear, to cut out the noise, mostly the noise that is going on around in your own mind, in your own head. It's just swirling. And you're asking yourself questions like, why am I stuck? Why am I frustrated? Why am I not making progress on my goals? I want to invite you to a free clarity call with me where we're going to dive in and we're going to identify what are the 3 main issues that are keeping you stuck. Number 2, what are the mindsets around those issues that are actually keeping you from solving for those issues? It's not our skill sets, it's our mindsets that keep us stuck and hold us back. And then number 3, identifying what are your next steps. We all have a next step, and we have 100% responsibility for those next steps. Your only next step right now is to go to the show notes and book your free clarity call so that we can work through this. I'm believing in you, and I cannot wait to see you on our clarity call. So let's transition a little bit and talk about this self-doubt versus the female entrepreneur. I know it's just always there, I feel like, for a lot of female entrepreneurs, and not just female entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship overall. I mean, there's days where you're on the high, right? And then there's days you're kind of in those valley moments. So you talk about 5 steps to kind of navigate past the doubt so that you can hit your targets. Can you share a little bit of that with the listeners?
Yeah. So I really talk about, it's all about reconnecting to what I call your inner guide, your soul compass. So it's being reconnected to that. A lot of times we lose that connection because we get so scattered by life, by challenges, by roadblocks. The doubt especially gets us to like doubt our own inner decisions. And so that's all about just remembering what that is and reconnecting with it. And then the next steps are going through the process of just really being connected to that inner voice inside of you, that inner intuition that's like, you know what, I know what to do next. And then empowering it, making sure that, you're adding more to it, feeling confident as you know that like, yeah, I know what to do next. That inner guide is guiding me what to do. And then using that to really help you move forward, to quickly move into the next steps. And then lastly, it's all about helping you figure out what are the practical next steps. Like there might be like a huge leap that you want to do, but if you really stay connected to your inner guide, it's going to give you the exact simple, practical next step to take that's going to lead you continuously to you reaching your goal. And that's where I really talk about it, is just really coming back to who you are inside. And I write a lot about certain type of exercises in the book, that Soul Compass, that I wrote to really help you reconnect to that, because there might be thoughts that you might be saying to yourself that are really disconnecting you to your inner guide. There might be things that you believe, not knowing that it's something maybe you got from the environment around you or something you experienced that you just sort of made into a belief. And I always like to talk about how when we say to kids, make believe, we still do make believe as adults, right? And so it's shifting those make believes in our lives that are ones that are beneficial for us as opposed to ones that are detrimental for us as well.
Yeah. There's so much power in our thoughts, and really getting to know ourselves or getting back in touch. I do feel like a lot of mompreneurs lose themselves in the process and the pursuit of success. They've lost their identity. They've lost the trust in themselves to make the decisions. And I'm not saying we don't need wise counsel on certain decisions, but a lot of times the answer is right there within us. And we just haven't slowed down long enough to even hear that voice, right? And give it the space and give it the time, and then trust it to take that next step. So I love that, because I just think there's so many mompreneurs that their identity is just gone. They've been so busy with wearing the mom hat and wearing the wife hat and the friend hat and the PTF hat and all of the things. And so they're like, where am I? And that's kind of part of my story is I lost myself along the journey in entrepreneurship, and why I'm so passionate for women to know there's a better way. Like you said in the beginning, it just doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't. When I work with clients, one of the biggest things I asked first and foremost is like, what do you want to focus on today? Because that really helps get inside of yourself and remember who you really are. And sometimes as simple as like, I really want to take a nap. And I'm just like, okay, well, do you want to reschedule the session? Because you definitely need a nap today.
I love that.
That's no problem. But like, that's where I come from, because I'm like, this is reconnecting what you need right now. You know what you need. And I want to help you do that. Like, I can, coming from like a business coach standpoint, and I work with business coaches, a lot of male business coaches over the years. And one of the things that really frustrated me is like, they didn't understand the female holistic life is very different from men. It is. Yeah. Like, we can't just focus on one simple thing. Yeah. We have so many things. We have so many plates spinning at the same time. We've got family members to take care of. We've got, partners to deal with. We've got all this stuff around us, and then there's an emergency. The kid falls down. We got to drop everything and go do that. We can't necessarily set a goal every single day or wake up at 5 a.m. and do 1 hour meditation. Like, no, it's not realistic. Right.
It's so true.
It's not realistic. You're lucky to get up early in the morning and have 5 minutes to yourself where you just give yourself that moment. Right. And that's where I really want to support women to know that, one, to give yourself forgiveness. I think that is really just like, you don't need to work as hard. Like, as long as you're doing just that one simple thing that actually is leading towards you what you need to do, which you actually really know inside what it is. Yeah. That is actually going to get you quicker to achieve your goal than working and working and working like a dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that quote before. If you don't take care of your wellness, you'll be forced to take care of your illness. And that goes from a physical standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, a mental standpoint. Like, we just really, and I love that you just kind of gave that client permission. And I do think so many mompreneurs just need that permission to slow down. It's like, here's your permission slip, just like a kid would get for skipping school. Like, here's your permission slip to skip or to slow down or to pause, or, you don't have to just keep running at that fast pace that is just not sustainable. You're going to crash and burn at some point. And I don't know if you hear this from your clients, but a lot of times they'll say, well, one day, right, I'll get back to fill in the blank. One day I'll get back to working out again. One day I'll get back to my 7 hours of sleep. One day I'll get back to dating my spouse. And then that one day never comes, right? Because they haven't prioritized it. And, it's just so easy for our calendars and schedules to get so busy with so many things. So I love that you called out that, because there is a clear difference between a female entrepreneurship. And I mean, that's not good or bad. It just is. Like, men and women are different people. And, the things that we do and the emotions that we have and all of those things are very different. So I think sometimes we can get in that compare and despair mode too.
Because we have, as a woman too, you have a natural, like, your body's changing as well, right? You might be going through various phases where maybe you're pregnant, right? And you're trying to run a business. Your hormones are going crazy. You need to give yourself permission to take it easy. Schedule the breaks, put your feet up. You don't need to be hustling. Or if you're on, getting older and you're going to the various phases of menopause, like, your body is like, hot flashes all the time. How are you going to be able to handle, like, you want to give yourself permission to know that life is messy, life is challenging, and give yourself buffers. Like, that is the biggest thing that I'm always about, is that you need to give yourself buffer time. And even if it's simple as like 5 minutes, you go in the bathroom, you lock the door, let the kids scream, and just like put on some headphones on and just like say some good, like, inspirational, like, affirmations, like, that's going to lift up your energy so you can continue to move forward. It's all about you refilling your tank, because that's the most important thing to do. Yeah. And I think that that's where us as female entrepreneurs, like, I definitely feel like the future of business is definitely female entrepreneurs. Like, I love seeing more and more women who are out there, because also the different perspective I see a lot with women when they go into business is that they're not only just making money just to make money, they're making money to help others. in helping communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're a small business to a bigger business, whatever they're thinking to do, it's affecting so many other people in a positive way. And I want to see that to be long lasting instead of burnt out. And to be able to not burn out is like taking those little moments for you. I think that's where us as women have to change our mindset in being an entrepreneur, is that you need to prioritize yourself first and foremost.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to say, you have to protect your greatest asset, and you are your greatest asset to your business, and your parenting, your marriage are only as healthy as you are. It all starts with you. And if you're waiting for someone to give you permission, let's just say we're both giving that to you today, but you have to come to terms and have that mindset shift from, I need permission for this, to, it's actually selfish for me not to do this because I can't show up as the mom that I want to, as the wife that I want to show up as the entrepreneur, to serve my community well. Like you said, those passionate mompreneurs that are out there that have a real passion to make the impact. And you don't have to build a big empire to have a big impact, as an entrepreneur. So you get to decide what kind of business you want, the size of the business that you want, how big your team is, how much time you're going to allot to that. So this is just a really, really great conversation. And I appreciate you coming on and talking about this, because I do think as female entrepreneurs, the more of us that are willing to kind of have these honest conversations about, it's not just about the hustle, it's about the harmony that you can build within your business and within your family and your marriage and all the things that you're actually probably working your business for. Like, don't lose sight of that. I think the more of us that are willing to kind of have these hard conversations and just be vulnerable and honest, the more mompreneurs will just be willing to hold on to that, right? And to adapt to that mindset and not hustle themselves into burnout.
It is really a mindset that you can make income and have work-life balance at the same time. You can have both. Like, I see it jokingly sometimes with some clients that I start working with. They're like, work-life balance? Like, what's that? I don't know what that is. And it's like, if you want to have a successful business, work-life balance is a must.
Yeah.
Going back to what you shared about like a priority and like you're the most important asset. Insurance companies for big companies put on like big insurance policies for the C-level executives of companies. If you run your own company, you are a very high priority, like from that perspective. So kind of think of it that way. Like, if you are gone, your company is gone. Your family is going to be in disarray. Like, you are super, super valuable and you are super important, and give yourself permission to own that now.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. That's a great way to end the podcast. Like, owning that right now, not in when your business gets to XYZ or when your marriage gets here, or when your kids get to a certain, like, own it now. Own it now. Because we're not guaranteed another day, right? We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So own that now. You're worthy of that now. You're worthy of the harmony that you can create in your business now. Awesome. Well, tell us, where can everybody connect with you? What's the best place to connect with you?
You can connect with me on social media. I'm on all the various platforms, from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at empoweredstarboss.com. Or you can, direct to my website, which is empoweredstarboss.com. And Empowered Starboss, is the social media handle. I keep putting those two together. But that's where you can find me. I'm everywhere. Just connect with me. I'm always here to support. So, also too, if you need any resources or anything, I want to see more women be successful. Like, I, started so young as an entrepreneur and struggled. And I don't want to see any more women struggle like that. And I just want to see more women thrive and be abundant and have great income and work-life balance at the same time, because you deserve it. It's your birthright, really, at the end of the day, my personal opinion.
Yeah. I love that. Well, I know they're all going to be going to your socials and finding you. I can't wait to stay connected with you as well with that. So we'll put the links to everything in the show notes. We'll have a link to your book too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll link up the book for everyone as well. And thank you again for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts and your expertise and your story. I know everyone's going to really take away a lot of things from this. So thanks so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right, friends, we'll catch you on the next episode. Y'all know I'm believing in you always. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.